A Nexus branded handset has long been one of the only ways to experience Google's vision for Android. For 2016, Google have decided not to pair up with an OEM and produce a phone all by themselves. While many fans of the Nexus program may have mixed feelings about the introduction of the Pixel, Google have made the bold choice to aim for the mainstream market. My name is Shaquille Ali with DroidsUnpacked. Join us as we find out if the first phone by Google can continue the Nexus legacy. Google are positioning this phone as a premium flagship, aimed directly at Samsung's Galaxy S and Apple's iPhone lineups. This is seemingly unexplored territory for Google, as fans of previous Nexus devices had grown accustomed to lower prices without having to sacrifice anything in terms of usability, specs, or that premium feeling. With Google pricing the Pixel line directly against the Galaxy S7 and the iPhone 7, many fans are justifiably asking the question, is this phone worth the asking price? Now, for all you spec junkies out there, we just want to say, while the Pixel packs some of the latest silicon and hardware available, they aren't as important as the overall experience that the phone can deliver. Now let's just address the apple-shaped elephant in the room right away. Yes, this phone does bear a passing resemblance to an iPhone 6, 6S or 7, but then again, is that really such a bad thing? Nowadays all high-end smartphones are some sort of candy bar shape made of glass or metal with antenna bands. Also, considering that Google are very openly targeting Apple and Samsung customers with this phone, I would like to think that the iPhone resemblance isn't a mere coincidence. Holding this phone in the hand brings back memories of phones like the HTC One M7 and HTC 10. The matte metallic body exudes a cool feel when you pick it up on a cold morning. The Pixel wows you as soon as you pick up the phone and power up that vibrant OLED display. With amazingly deep blacks and colours that look like they're painted on, the screen will surely be a key selling point. The bezels, however, will not be. This is one area that Google still haven't mastered, as the bezels have no real reason for being there, like front-facing speakers or a physical home button. We'll give Google a pass for this, as the large chin and forehead may not be ideal, they don't detract from the overall user experience all that much. On the rear, we have the Google G logo, and only that logo. You won't find any HTC branding on the Pixel. Up top, we have a glass panel, which covers about a third of the phone, under which we find the laser autofocus, the camera lens, and the Pixel imprint fingerprint sensor, which can now be used to trigger the notification shade and quick toggles. Thankfully, Google have managed to avoid any sort of camera bump, as they've given the phone a slight wedge shape, which actually makes it feel more manageable despite its 5.5-inch screen size. Lastly, we should probably mention battery life. While some outlets have been reporting mixed results for battery life, through our week of testing in regular everyday use, we've been seeing north of 4 hours of screen on time. This is on a phone with 3 email accounts, lots of social media usage, 1 to 2 hours of phone calls a day, and a bit of music streaming on the daily commute. Pretty impressive for a phone with a 3450 mAh battery, but not exactly class leading. The Pixel will still easily get us through a whole day of use, with our unit usually dropping to about 15% around 8 PM. And now we move on to software. Google have at the same time delivered a phone which feels familiar to use and hold, but a phone which also raises the bar in areas that Google traditionally hasn't excelled. Swiping through the Pixel launcher, which at the moment isn't exclusive to the Pixel line, Android finally feels as buttery smooth as Apple's iOS. We've still yet to experience any lag, stutters, or dropped frames when swiping through menus or switching apps. This isn't something you could have said about any Android phone till now. Even traditionally taxing apps such as Snapchat don't seem to bog down the phone when in use. Google have been able to achieve this by controlling the whole creation process of the Pixel from day one. Being able to optimize their software for the right hardware has been the reason that Google have been able to keep Android 7.0 so smooth. This is exactly what Apple has been doing for nearly a decade. If you could describe Android 7.0 Nougat on the Pixel in one word, it would be smooth. Animations also don't seem to tax the Pixel, as it glides through its OS at a consistent 60 frames a second, regardless of how quickly you swipe through. One of the main software features that Google are pushing with the Pixel is the Google Assistant. Already available on many Android and iOS devices through the Allo app, the Assistant is an evolution of Google's previous attempt at AI, Google Now. While it is a learning AI and is contextually aware, it does occasionally falter. Asking the Assistant to identify what music is playing simply brings up a warning that she can't do that yet.
What song's playing?
It can do the same basic things as Microsoft's Cortana or Apple's Siri, such as setting timers and reminders or showing you what the weather's going to be like. However, it isn't as integrated into the Android ecosystem as we would hope for. For example, the Google Assistant can't even send a message through Google's latest messaging platform, Allo. It also doesn't tie into the Google Cast ecosystem as well as, say, Google's Home smart speaker. One area that Google's Assistant handily outclasses Cortana and Siri is in its conversational ability. As weird as it sounds to say speaking to a robotic voice can be natural, speaking to the Google Assistant feels much more like carrying on a conversation with a real person, as opposed to, say, talking to the Terminator. Asking the Assistant who Australia's Prime Minister is brings up a nice Wikipedia card about Malcolm Turnbull. Follow this up with the question, how old is he? And the Assistant knows exactly who you're referring to. All in all, Google have created a formidable software package for the Pixel, which pits it directly against the buttery smoothness of Apple's iOS and the feature load of Samsung's TouchWiz. And now we must move on to the Pixel's pièce de résistance, the camera. On first inspection, with a 12.3 megapixel sensor and f2.0 aperture, the Pixel does not seem to pack anything revolutionary in terms of camera hardware. However, with large 1.55 micron pixels, the Pixel is capable of some truly astonishing still photography. Combined with the fact that the Pixel also takes photos in HDR+ mode as its default setting, we may finally have an Android camera that can match or even beat the point-and-shoot ability of Apple's iPhone shooter. From our week of testing, we can easily see how the Pixel earned the highest ever score for a smartphone camera from DxOMark. With a fast laser focus system and HDR photography by default, Google have made one of the best Android shooters ever. The Pixel is excellent in capturing color in subjects and retaining fine details. Some may find that oversaturated nature of the Pixel a little bit off-putting. However, we found to the average layperson, oversaturation usually equals a good photo. While an iPhone probably still captures more true-to-life colors, the detail and fast focus that the Pixel is capable of easily make up for this. One aspect of the camera that easily bests any other smartphone camera available is the Pixel's video recording ability. Although it lacks any form of hardware stabilization, the electronic image stabilization that Google have engineered into the Pixel produces some very smooth videos without much of the dreaded jello effect from lesser systems. The EIS system is tied to the gyroscope and compensates for any shaky hands or motion while shooting video. While some reviewers have stated that the EIS system produces a robotic-looking video, we tend to think that it gives the Pixel a touch of professionalism in regards to how it can record video. The Achilles heel, however, of the Pixel camera would have to be its performance in low-light situations. The Pixel can still manage respectable results in dim lighting, such as around sunset or at dawn. However, once the light truly starts to disappear, so does the Pixel's composure. Without any form of hardware stabilization, the Pixel tends to blow out images in low light and struggles to maintain focus. If you simply point and shoot in low light, pictures will generally present graining and a lack of focus. If you're willing to take the time and adjust the few manual controls that the Pixel camera app has to offer, you can certainly compensate for the Pixel's lack of low light prowess. Overall, the Pixel camera is easily up to the competition of the iPhone 7 and Galaxy S7 in terms of stills and video photography. While the Pixel may look like a mashup of 2016's flagships on the outside, the total package tells a very different story. With a much better screen than any iPhone, much more fluid software than any Samsung, and one of the absolute best smartphone cameras available on any phone, the Pixel can certainly lay claim to being the king of Android. We'd give the Pixel a solid 8.5 out of 10. It misses out on a perfect score mainly due to the high pricing coupled with a lack of features such as waterproofing and wireless charging. While these aren't a necessity, in 2016 they really should be standard on any phone of this price and caliber. As the Pixel lineup is Google's first true attempt at its own smartphone, we're certainly very impressed, and looking forward to next year's Pixels addressing some of our concerns. We hope you enjoyed this review of the Google Pixel XL. If you did, please feel free to like the video and subscribe for all of our future tech coverage. I'm Shaquille Ali with Droids Unpacked, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in our next video.